Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It is such a pleasure having you on here. I hope that you guys are doing well and that you're here to learn to read English. And you know that when we're here learning how to read English, we are trying to improve our fluency in English, also our vocabulary, our spelling, our grammar, our pronunciation, all these great things. We are trying so hard to ensure that we improve. So, guys, go ahead in the comment section. Let me know where you're viewing from. Say how you're doing today. Let's hear from you. It is always such a pleasure to hear from you and to know what you guys are thinking. Come on, guys, go ahead, share your thoughts, and let's have a wonderful live session today as we learn how to read English. If you have any questions, go ahead, put your questions in our comment section so that we can know that you are active. We really want you guys to be active with us. And it is always a pleasure to have you here being very much active. So, guys, go ahead and share out the live. You might know others who are interested in learning how to read English. Go ahead and share out the live with them. Let them come on board and get to practice reading in English. So, my voice is not 100%, guys. So, you may hear some deep talking. However, I am asking you to please work along with me as we do this live. Yes, guys. And I hope that you guys are ready to read English or ready to learn English. If you're ready, type ready in the comment section. Let's get active, guys. All right, so today we are going to be talking about something that is very interesting, and I'm sure that you guys would benefit a lot from what we are going to be talking about because if you're ready, type ready. So that was just for me to know that you guys can hear me. All right, guys. So I'm going to post the link in the comment section. This link is just in case you guys are interested in being a part of the reading session in terms of if you want to come on screen, you would definitely let me know. If you want to come on screen to read at any point, please feel free to do so. So I'm going to share the link in the comment section and you guys can always join the live using this link. Okay, so at this point, we're going to try to get active in our comments. I'm going to be posting the link. If you guys want to join the stream, you got to notify me, and with this, you'll be able to join the stream. All right, guys, so now we are going to begin our presentation for today. We are going to be reading in English, as I've said. You guys who are always here, you are very familiar with what we do here, that we learn to read English and not just read, but we also learn vocabulary. And this helps us to improve our vocabulary in English. We learn different spelling rules that can really help to transform our writing and also our speaking in English or reading, so that when we see words, we become much more familiar with them, and we are able to read them fluently and speak them fluently. And essentially, that's what we want for everyone who is learning English. I think it's a very good skill to have. And once you are able to read in English, then it will help you to improve. So remember, this is Read English 101. And here on Read English 101, what we do is that we learn how to read English, and not just how to read, but spell, pronounce English, also how to improve vocabulary, how to improve in our writing, and you know, how to expand in terms of when we are speaking or writing. And we are learning from a foundational stage, which will help us to graduate to a stage where we are very fluent or very close to a native speaker, or where we sound very much like native speakers, or we can say that we are idiomatic speakers. So let's get right into reading English. Guys, come on, time to put on your learning gears, your ears, being very much attentive. Your mouth can also be active on your end where you're speaking also as a way of practice. You are repeating whatever it is, you can get active with me. And that is what will help you to improve English as a second language. Thank you to all new subscribers, those of you who have now subscribed to the channel where you learn to read English as a second language and where you learn English, because that is something that you would want to improve in reading, and also just learning the pragmatics of the language. That's where you learn how the language is being used. Because there are persons who have learned English, but when it comes to speaking it and sounding very much like a native, they struggle a lot. And this is because of many key factors. And we're here to help you with those interventions and to just help you to improve your English all round. So, in today's reading session, we are going to be reading a short story. And this short story is based on the perspective of Eastern and Western cultures. And this Eastern and Western cultures perspective, they are based on students who have experienced the Eastern and Western cultures, not being locals or not being from those countries or from those regions. However, they have been studying in those regions or studying abroad. So we are going to be exploring culture from that perspective of students. So one from an Eastern country and one from a Western country. And basically, they are in opposite land studying. And so they have had experience with the culture, and now they are sharing their perspective. So let's begin. Here we are going to be identifying, or we are going to be locating those words that a lot of English speakers would have problems calling. So they would mispronounce these words. Or we are going to be looking for words that they look a bit longer. They have a lot more letters and maybe more difficult to pronounce. We are going to be breaking down those words, as in decoding those English words and helping you to learn how to really pronounce them in English. So if you're ready for that, guys, go ahead, type ready in the comment section and grab your tea, grab your water so that you can have it nearby as you practice with me. Let's begin. So I've just had a sip of water. I am encouraging you to drink some water too. Water is healthy. Let's begin. Our first word that we'll take a look at is this word. So S and T together makes a song st. The U in the word calls its name. We would say that it is a long vowel sound, and then we can use this as a small word, or we can use this part as an ending for a lot of English words. So the ending is e, n, as in the rhyme, in ten and ben and hen, n, and we add t, we have ents, ents. We add d to ents, and we have the small word dent, dent. So all we need to do is to pronounce the first two songs and then add dents to it, and we'll be able to get the word. So we have you, stew, dent, student, student. Now let's add the S sound. When we add the S sound, we hear s, because here the S is making it more than one. When we say student, that is one subject. However, when we say students, that is more than one. So our word here is a students, students. And who is a student? So a student, and you in your lifetime, I'm sure that you would have been a student before. While some of us now, we are still students. If you're here, then it means that you are a student. Okay? But however, when it's more than one, then we say students. So a student is someone who is actually pursuing their studies or who is studying, whether it is at a school, at a university, uh, whatever place you're studying, you would say that you are a student. Okay? The pupils in a school, you call them students. All right, guys, let's keep going. Our next word, up, up. Then we have o, up, o, s. The e at the end is silent. However, when e is at the end silent, a lot of the times the vowel would make a long sound or it will make a short sound. In this case, we hear the vowel make a short sound. So we hear e, e. All right. So it's not every time the e is at the end silent that the vowel would make a long sound. There are times when it's going to make a short sound. So basically, the rule applies in both ways. Whenever e is at the end silent, the vowel can make a short sound or it can make a long sound. For example, in this word, we hear the short sound. So our word is o, o, opo, and you notice the o makes a long sound. It's calling its own name. So we hear apo, then s, and then we hear it. So the int actually goes together to make that small word it. So we hear opposite, opposite, opposite. So the S makes a sound like Z. So we hear opposite, opposite. Always remember S when it comes before a vowel in English, especially vowels like I, E or A, a lot of the times, and you too, a lot of the times, the S can change its sound to a sound like Z. So we hear Z. So our word is opposite. So let's read from the top. Two students from opposite. Now our rule changes. Here we see E at the end silent. Remember the S is only added to change the rule of the verb. So let's see now what happens here. The E at the end is silent. In this one, we are going to hear the long sound. That's where we are going to hear the vowel call its own name. So we're going to hear I. Unlike in opposite, we hear A, the short sound for I. In this word, we are going to hear I, the long sound for I. So we hear I'd, I'd, side. The E at the end is silent. So our word is side. When we add S, we have sides, sides. All right. So side would be one and sides would be more than one. All right. So let's give the meaning for those two words. So when we talk about something that is opposite, you would often hear that word, opposite. It's a very common word in English. It simply means that these things, they are across from each other. They are across from each other. So, for example, if there are two walls, one would be on the left, one would be on the right, then you would say that they are opposite. They are across from each other or they are actually facing each other. That way you can call them opposites. Okay. We also have like when words are opposite, it means that their meanings are actually two different meanings. Okay. So when you have words that are opposite, their meanings are two different meanings. They're completely different. All right. So how about the word sides? Sides. What do we really look at when we talk about the side of something? What do we look at when we talk about the side of something? And guys, remember, I want you to get active in the comment section. This will help you to really bring out that which you know, right? So when you talk about the side of something, you're talking about maybe the left side, the right side, or you're actually talking about the central point of something, right? You're talking about that part around this thing. That is what you're calling the side. Also, side can mean another thing. It can mean, like, for example, you agreeing with someone. You would say that you side with someone. In English, English speakers use this very often. They would say that I'm siding with you or I side with her. That means that they agree with that person. So if you ever hear it being used in that way, then that would simply means to agree. But in this case, the side of something would actually mean the part that is around something. That's what you would call the side. All right, let's read through it fluently now. We're reading through this whole sentence fluently. And I want you guys to really pay attention to the words in terms of their pronunciation. Two students from opposite sides of the, let's read it one more time. Two students from opposite sides of the, Now let's read it at a faster pace as we develop our fluency. We are trying to improve our speed or our rate in terms of our pacing. And that's one thing you have to be very careful to develop. Let's go ahead now. Two students from opposite sides of the. All right. If you got that, guys, you did an awesome job. Let's now go ahead and read this part. W. The OR makes the sound O. So we have W. O. LD. LD is a common consonant blend at the end of words. You can put them together to say LD, LD, because it's very popular in a lot of words. Or you can song them out each by themselves. You can say LD, LD, or you can put them together. So let's go. W, old, w, old, world, world. Our word is world. This is a very common high frequency word because it's a number. One. One. One is a word that you have to learn to pronounce by looking at it because if you were to pronounce it by uh, just simply sounding it out, your pronunciation would be very incorrect. So it's a word that you should learn to recognize and be able to call as soon as you see it. Our next word, in. So we have the short I sound, in. The th makes a sound like D, so we hear D, and the e makes a schwa sound. We hear so we hear d, the. Remember, whenever this word comes before a word that begins with a vowel, it will not be pronounced as the any longer. It will be pronounced as the. So always look out for the way that it is used to know how to pronounce it correctly. All right. So let's keep going, guys. We want to ensure that we got these, we getting these correct. All right. Okay. So our next word, let's keep going. Do you know the next word from hat? Is it a word that you can watch and easily recognize and be able to call it? Let me know, guys, if it is a word that you can easily recognize and be able to call it. All right, so let's call this word. We have the ending st, e. The e makes the sound the s and t, st. Put them together, est. Like for example, in the word best and rest and nest, you have that blend. Sorry, that rhyme. And if you learn that rhyme, there are so many words that you would learn to pronounce by just learning that rhyme. So now we add the W sound and we have w, est, west. And where is the west? Can we tell where is the west? Mm. So the west is where the sun sets. That's one thing that we've learned from geography and those other subject areas that that is the point of the horizon where the sun sets. So it is between north and south. We have also learned that too. So that's the West. And we know Western regions or places like in Japan, Asia, those places. Sorry, what am I saying to you guys? I'm so sorry. Western places are like in America. America is a country that's in the West. So it is a place that we are familiar with. A lot of us, when we hear about America, we are very familiar with that. So that's a place in the West, just to give you some sense of direction. All right, guys. So let's keep going. Let's go ahead and read through now. Now that we know the words in terms of how to pronounce them, we have learned the different parts of the words and the vocabulary. So let's pronounce them by reading fluently. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West. Let's read it again. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West, and so we have a and, or we can say and, and it's up to you how you want to pronounce it. Not pronounce it, how you want to put the letters together, because you can use a and n as the small word an and the rhyme and then just add the d sound, or you can use a and then add the consonant blend n d at the end to make the sound. So you can say a and for this one, it really does not matter. All right. Our next word that we are going to be careful to sound out is this one. Or TNH, d. Remember, I told you TNH can make the sound d or it can make the sound That's where you hear the sound when you a song like a D, and then we hear So let's go. D, other, other. If you're using American English, then you would say other. If you're using British English, then you'll say other. So you'll cut the sound short using that schwa sound for ER at the ending of the word. All right, so let's read those two lines from the top. I think that we got it all together and we are able to read those two lines from the top. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the east, sorry, and the other in the okay, so we get to that point. Let's read it one more time. We just had a few mistakes, and that's how it is with learning to read English. You would have mistakes. You have to be the one that is careful enough to correct your mistakes. So let's begin one more time. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the east and the other in the, and you notice that this one says the west and this one says the other. Whenever the word comes before a word that begins with a vowel, that's when you'll hear th, th. That's the voiceless sound. That's the um, voiceless sound for the TH. And the E now becomes E, as in you hear the long song. So you're going to hear E for the E sound. So you hear th, e, the. However, when it is before a word that begins with a consonant, you would hear the th make the d sound, and the e would make the schwa sound where you hear All right. If you think you have all that together, guys, then super. You're doing very well. All right. So let's keep going. That's what I want us to do. Keep going. If you have any questions, guys, please put it in the comment section. Let's talk about it. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Anything that you want to clarify, that is fine. We can clarify that as we read English. All right, so let's go on to our next word. And our word here, the E and A together, we hear the E make the sound E, the A is silent. So in this case, E and A makes the E sound. And then we hear st for the S and T. So we hear east, east, east. Let's go to our next word. T and R together. True. Whenever E is at the end silent, a lot of the times the vowel that comes before can call its name, or in some cases, it can stay silent. In this case, the vowel call its name, so we hear A. So the word is true, aid, trade. Now, because it's ed at the ending of words, whenever ed is added to the ending of words, we can hear three different sounds. We can hear id, ed, or we can hear d or t. We can hear any one of those sounds. So in this case, because it's a D at the end, whenever T or D is at the end of a word that has ED, the song that it will make is id. So in this case, we hear id. So our word is true, aid, trade, and id. Traded, traded. Our word is traded. All right. What does it mean to trade? So trade basically is where you buy and you sell things, right? Are you familiar with that? Buying and selling of things. You would say that you trade. Or in some cases, people would say that they deal, or they would say that they traffic, or they're marketing stuff. They're doing business. All these would mean the same as trading something. And traded would actually be the past tense for the word trade. So traded is the past tense for the word trade. Or in some cases, some people would use the term traffic. Traffic. Our next word, let's keep going, guys. So I hope that you're learning some new vocabulary that can really help you to improve your speech in English. We hear L, the I makes a long song because E's at the end silent. So in this case, we're going to hear the I say I. So we hear L, Ife, life. Our word here is life. Our next word, ab, or we can put B and R together so we can have the A by itself. A, brr, a brr, and then we hear O, the A silent, and D. So in this case, the OA makes a short O sound. So we hear O, O. So Our word here, let's blend it together. We hear abroad, abroad, abroad. What does it mean when you say something is abroad? What does it mean when you say something is abroad? So to be abroad, what does that mean? It simply means that you are in a foreign country, or that you are overseas, or you are out of your country, or you are beyond the seas, or you're in a foreign land. Others mean the same as being abroad. And some of you may be watching, and currently you may be abroad, which means that you are overseas, or you are in a foreign land, or that you are out of your country. So our word here is abroad. Always remember in spelling the word abroad that the O makes the short O sound O, and the A is silent. So we hear a, br, or d, abroad. However, when you're spelling, remember to place that A after the letter O. Or you can say O and A also makes the short sound O. Because a lot of times you may have learned that O and A says O, like in, for example, the word goat. You may have learned that the O and A says O. But however, English does not always follow the rules. And so there are variations or there are differences to the rules. And this is one where there's a difference to the rule. So I think it is very inconsistent for us to say that O and A makes the O sound, and we do not say O and A can also make the O sound. Because sometimes when two vowels go together, the first one can make the song calling its name. That's the long song. Sometimes they can make a short song where the vowel call a short song. Or sometimes the second vowel can make the sound and the first one stays silent. All right. So I think that's one of the things that we have been very much limited to when it comes to really understanding or practicing English to its full volume. I think that we limit ourselves to just saying that they make one sound, and that is so not true. Okay, guys. So once you're familiar with the way that the vowels can operate, it makes it easier for you to learn the word. All you have to do is to simple go ahead, sound out the word using all the possible songs that you know can be applied, and which one sounds like a word that you have heard before. Maybe you have heard some of these words um, in speaking to others, or in listening to maybe a video, or listening to others speak, or simply from other means, maybe a game show, something you have heard that word, and you're able now to apply it here and say, oh, I've heard this one before. So I think this is the correct pronunciation. This is the word. And that would help you in improving your fluency and improving in terms of your pronunciation, calling words in English. So it can only get better with using different methods. And that method is actually called the tree queuing method. You can also write it down and see if it looks correct. That's another thing that you can do in order to get the word correct. All right. Our next word, just like in east, the E and A says E. It also says E in this word. So we hear the E making the sound, the A is silent, and the CH makes the ch sound. Always be careful with CH because CH can make three different sounds. So we have each, each. And our next word, we have just call this word at the top here. So our word here is the th, d, and the er says We put them together. We have d, other. We add the s now. We have others, others, others. So our word is actually others. All right. So let's see how well we can read from the top now. Guys, are you ready? Let's go. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the west and the other in the east, traded life abroad in each other's. Guys, remember, whenever this word comes before a word that begins with a vowel, always be careful that the word says the, and not the, okay? And sometimes that's how we misread because sometimes we're not even paying attention uh like deeply to realize, hey, it's now time for me to say E, or it's now time for me to say oh. Guys, reading English can be very difficult at times, but it gets easier once practiced. Okay, let's read again one more time for fluency. And by the time we get to the ending, you should have already developed your fluency, which would be very good for you. So let's go ahead. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's. All right, we're doing well, guys. Remember, we are just reading for an hour. So let's try to complete within the hour. Each other's k, a. So in this word, O and U can make different sounds. O and U can say ow, it can say it can say o. So in this one, we are going to hear k, n, t, and r. Put them together, tr, and the Y at the end makes a sound like E. Y at the end can make two sounds. We can hear I or we can hear E. In this one, we hear E. So let's put it all together. So we hear k, n, con, and then we hear tr, E. Country, country. I've heard persons say country before using Y at the end as an I sound. You have to be very careful when you're using the sounds, okay? When it's longer words, most times that's when you hear E. When the word is shorter, like a 3, 4 letter word, that's most of the time when you'll hear I. That's what can help you to really know the difference in terms of learning whether it's I or E. So the word is k, n, kan, and then we hear tr and E, country. Our next word, we already know this one. So let's practice recognition where we see the words and we try to remember them also. We've just learned this word. So we're not going to decode it because we've just learned it. So a country, TNH, d, making the d sound here. And then we see the small word at, that, w. The A here takes on a song like a U sound, and then we hear the S making a song like z. So we hear w. z, w, z, was. On to the next word, or, for, and then EIGH, or we can say EI makes the sound A. It can make the sound I. EI has 4 different sounds, guys, and you can research them, you can practice them. But in this word, it says A. So we have or and A. Whenever G or GH comes after a word that has EI, a lot of the times the EI is silent. Or let's just say vowels in general. Most times the vowels are, whenever G comes or GH comes after vowels, the GH is silent. So here we hear f, or, for, and a, n, for, in, foreign. Let's say together, or, for, in, foreign. Okay, so a word is foreign. And this is a word that you have to be so careful when spelling, because here you can actually see that the word has EI making a sound. So when you're spelling or writing it, you may write it with an A, not realizing that it's EI that makes a sound. Remember, English is a very funny language or technical language. And because of that, it does not always follow the rules. And you have to also learn what is called the exceptions to the rule. But in learning the exceptions, what you can do is to say that because the EI can make 4 different songs, you can just apply the 4 songs. You know that the G after vowels or GH a lot of the times is silent, especially when there are 2 vowels together. So what you can simply do is to just basically use the different songs that you know and see which one songs a lot like a word that is in your vocabulary or like a real English word. And that would help you with learning to pronounce the word correctly. All right, guys. So I see that you guys are doing very well. If there's anyone who want to get on screen to read with us, like read aloud, guys, just go right ahead and come on up and come and read with us. We're always happy to have you here reading with us. You know, it's a fun thing to have persons here who want to really learn how to read English, because we teach you using the method where you are able to decode the words. So any word that you meet, you'll be able to call that word. We don't just read word for word and expect you to remember all words. No, because sometimes our memory is not that quick. So we do not learn to read very fast using that method. Okay. You reading word for word would require you to have a quick memory. And with that, you can really learn how to read very good. Because a lot of us who learned English, especially back in the days where phonics was not so much of a thing, like, and even if it was a thing, it was not so in depth. We just basically learn like rhymes, onset and rhymes, rather than learning to song out words like from scratch, as in all the songs in the words. No, we didn't do that. We mainly learned the onset and the rhyme. Those were the ones that we were taught in school. And rhyme is a really good thing to learn in English, because if you learn rhymes, you would learn so many words by just learning one rhyme. One rhyme. So, for example, if you learn the rhyme each. You can learn peach, you can learn teach, you can learn preach, reach. All these words you can learn, right? Once you learn that right. Because all you're changing is the beginning sound. And that's how we learned earlier in the days to read English. We were taught a lot of rhymes, right? And it's not a bad way of teaching, or it's not a way that would really confuse children, but uh, it takes a slower time to really learn how to read as um, compared to you learning phonics and really learning how to decode words and then how to encode words, as in how to really break them apart, segmenting them, whether by using syllables, by using every songs through segmentation, or by using maybe the morphology of the word, or even semantics. Like, for example, if you have words with uh, prefixes and suffixes and all that, you can take away that part of the word and, call the other parts of the word. And with that, it also helps you to build meanings and so on. So, learning English can be like a whole complexity of different things. And it's important for you to really practice everything in order to learn to read English, not just stick to one set rule in learning how to read English, but be open to use different rules while learning to read English. So you use many different rules at the same time. How about that? And you'll see how well your English would improve. Like, you, especially reading, spelling, and your vocabulary, you'll see how much you're going to improve. Just use multiple methods at the same time rather than trying to use one method to arrive at your destination. Try to use multiple methods. Do not stick to one method. Whenever you're reading, you do 3Q and method. That's where you sung out using all the songs that are possible for that one set of letters or letter, and you see which one sounds like a real word in your vocabulary. Then you also move on to sounding out the word, putting it together. Then you focus on recognizing that word. So whether you get a book, for example, a good book to get is the Bible, because basically you don't have to search for content. So you can get a Bible and you can just go through the Bible looking for that word as many times as you can, and calling it as you find it. And this would help you a lot with recognizing that word. After a time, that word becomes a word that you know. All right. So that's a really good way of practicing. I'm so sorry for this rambling with how to really learn words uh, at a quicker pace. But guys, it's important for you. If you guys want me to do a podcast on that, let me know. I'll do a whole podcast on that for you guys, because I know it will really help you with improving your English. And that's essentially what we want. We want you to improve and we want you to do better, right? All right, so let's move on. So remember, this word was f, and the or for, and the EI says A in this word, but EI makes four different sounds. You can research and find those other songs. So if you stay here long enough, you will learn those songs. So A, the G is silent. Normally, when G or GH comes after vowels in English, a lot of the times the G or GH would be silent. And then N. So we sung out this word by saying calling that small word for, and then A, N, for, in, foreign, foreign. And this word foreign, when something is foreign to you, what does that mean? Or when you are in a foreign land, what does that mean? So foreign actually means something that is strange, right? Something that is strange to you, or something that is in a remote area. You can say that it is foreign. Foreign, sorry. Why am I saying that, guys? I'm saying foreign. You can say that it is foreign. So something that is strange or unfamiliar, you would hear people say, "Oh no, that's foreign," and you would think that they're talking about being in a foreign land, not realizing that what they're saying is that this thing is strange or unfamiliar to them, right? But when you're in a foreign place, it means that you are in a place that is remote or a place that is distance away, like overseas. You would say that it is foreign. All right, guys, how are we doing? I'm thinking that we're doing well. Our next word, T and H together in this word makes the D sound. Remember T and H, we can hear the voice sound, D, or we can hear the voiceless sound, where our tongue goes between our teeth. And we can use that song in this word. And then we hear M, and that rhyme like in the word gem and stem. So our word is dem. And them here would refer to a group of persons where you yourself you're not involved. So it's actually used as a subject and you yourself is not involved in that category. Hence the reason you said them. Our WH here, WH can say w or it can say in this case we hear w. The H is silent. So our ERE says air. So we hear w, where. And in this case, where here means like a place. So if I ask you, where are you going? What I'm simply asking is which place you're going to. All right. So it talks about a place or a position. Our next word, TH, makes the D sound in this word. The EY says A. Remember, EY can also say E, but in this word, we hear A. So it's D, A, D, A, day. When we use day, it has been used as a subject, and they here refers to a group where you are involved. So once you are involved in that group, then you would use the subject they. Sorry, once you are not involved in the group, that's when you use the subject they. They is used in a group where you are not a part of the group. You're not involved. They. Just as them is used, but they is used as the subject pronoun and them would be used as the object pronoun. All right. So for those of you who want to improve your vocabulary, you would use or your grammar. This is a perfect example. So THEY, they, where the TH make the sound like D, the AY here makes a sound like A instead of saying E, like in monkey and donkey and the money and those words. This word they refers to a group that you are not a part of. And because you're not a part of it, then you'll say they. And they here is used in the subject of your sentence. Them is also a group that you are not a part of, and that is used as an object. Okay, so that is used as an object pronoun. All right, guys, so that's just a bit of grammar. Our next word that we're going to take a look at is this word. So we notice that the word begins with a vowel. Whenever the word begins with a vowel, our TH sound is going to be the voiceless sound. So we're going to say, putting our tongue between our teeth, and the E is going to make a long song. So we are going to hear the E say, E, E, E. So we hear E, E. The. Our next word is up, like in opposite. We already studied this portion of the word up. And then we hear or. The U make a long sound also. The U says you. So we hear up. Sorry, not up. We hear up. And then we hear or. Apart. You. It. And then the Y at the end make a sound like E. So our word is up or you opportune it opportunity and E opportunity. Our word is opportunity. All right. And what does the word opportunity means? So when you have an opportunity, it simply means you have a chance to something, right? And a lot of us from time to time, we get a chance to something and we call it an opportunity. Yes, it is. So it's like that golden moment, or it's like an occasion or some sort of option that we have. Uh, yeah. So an opportunity is basically where you have a possibility to do something. So where you have a possibility in terms of an occasion or a situation uh, that makes something possible for you or make a possibility for you to do something. And you have had that before, right? I'm sure you have had opportunities before. Maybe you have not had opportunities that you really want to have, but you have had some sort of opportunity before in your lifetime. All right. So comment in the comment section, guys, and let's talk about opportunity. Do you want to talk about an opportunity that you have had recently? Go ahead and tell us an opportunity that you have talked about, you have had recently. We see somebody in the comment section saying hi. Hi, with Granny E. How are you doing? Thank you so much for being here. It is such a pleasure having you here reading in English. How is it going for you being here learning how to read English? We are glad to have you here. If it's easy for you and it is something that you're enjoying, please type enjoying in the comment section or happy to be here. Yeah, one of those. Let's know that you are really active with us. All right, guys. Uh, let's read this word now. In this word, it's actually live. Live. The N is silent. So the I is making a short sound. Live. However, we know that this word can also say live in terms of the I making a long song. So once we're reading in context, we'll be able to know whether it's live or live. All right. So always remember that depending on how the word is being used, it can be live or it can be live. All right. So you have to practice reading sentences in context in order to get that one easy. All right. Our next word, st, S and T together, st. And then we have you making the sound the short sound, the d. So we hear ud, like in the word mud. So that's a common rhyme. So we have stud, and the Y at the end makes an E sound. This word says ud, E, study, study. And what does it mean to study? Well, as a student, you study all the time, right? So when you study, it just simply means that you give your time or your attention to learning or to gaining new knowledge in whatever subject area that you want to achieve. So that's simply what studying is all about. Our next word, I and a. In this word, we see both vowels making a sound. And you notice the pattern with the vowels here, that the I makes a long sound, I, and the A makes a short sound. So the word is actually pronounced as via in some um, pronunciations across the world. You would hear people say via, or in other cases, you would hear via, via. So uh, the word can be pronounced via or it can be pronounced via. Okay, guys, so the pronunciation via, or in some places you'll hear it via. Uh, at this point, I'm not sure exactly if it's the Americans who pronounce it as via or uh, the British would pronounce it as via. But I more think because Americans they pronounce words in a way that they can spell them, most likely you'll hear the Americans. I think they would be the ones where you would hear each letter pronouncing themselves. So remember, via or via. It's just the pronunciation that you would hear in different places. All right, guys. So let's keep going. Our next word, we hear k, l, o, then t, call, t, and then we hear and al. So we hear k, all, then t, cultural, and then we hear al, cultural. So we hear k, all, t, culture, and then we hear al, cultural, cultural. And when something is cultural, guys, when something guys, can you like hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. The internet went right out. I'm so sorry. Guys, anything go wrong? Some points, and this is one of the things that can just go wrong. Anyways, we were on the issue of something that is cultural, guys. And remember, I said that anything that is cultural, so we have k, all, and then t, and then cultural, and al, cultural. Anything that is cultural is something that really reflects the belief or the ideas or the way of life of a people. And this could be things like your customs, this could be your behaviors in terms of your social upbringing, the way that you would behave. This could be when it comes to your ethics. All those things can reflect your cultural background. So that's our word, cultural. Cultural. Our next word, X, E and X together, we hear X, X, and then CH, ch. A makes the long A sound, A, because the E is the end silent, so we hear A, and then N and G together, N, ch. So we hear N, ch. So we hear ch, A, N, ch. All right, so the G, sorry, makes a sound like E, like J, sorry. Sorry, guys, I was trying to multitask and I did give you the wrong information a while ago. Because the live went out. Okay, so let's see if we can hear ourselves first. Live went out. Okay, so we can hear ourselves, so let's keep going. Guys, so EX together, X, the E says the X says X. So we hear X, and X actually means something that has gone past, or it means something that is former. And then we have CH, ch, the A making a long E sound because E's at the end silent. Then we hear N, and the G makes a sound like J. When G comes before E, I, or Y, a lot of the times it makes a sound like J. So we hear J. So our word is X, ch, A, N, ch. Exchange. Our word is X, ch, A, N, ch. Exchange. And when you exchange something, what have you done? So let's say I exchange my bracelet with you for your mango. Then it means that I actually give you what I had, which is my bracelet, and I receive your mango, right? So it is where you give something to receive something else. And another word you can use for exchange would be the word barter, or you can use the word swap. We like to say, let me swap this for that. Or we can use the word switch. All those words can mean the same as exchange. And our next word, per, and O. The O makes a long song, so we hear per O, gur, GNR, and we see the small word am. We put it together, per O, gur, am, program. So our word there is program. Program. What is a program, guys? What is a program? So, everyday life, we hear about different programs coming on stream. So, when there is a program, it simply means that you have some sort of measures or activities that would be put in place for a long-term basis. It could be like a plan of action, or it could be like a plan itself, or you can say that it is a scheme. Any one of these you can use to call something a program or like a project. A project can also be used uh, interchangeably with the word program. Our next word, we have the small word be, TNW, two E's together, E. So we can say be, and we can call this part tween. So we have the word be, between. And you know when something is in between or when something is between something, like for example, if you are standing between two persons, that it simply means that you are in the middle, right? Or if something is put in between of something, that it means that that thing is uh, put into something or put at the middle of something. And our next word, the H makes a song, the I makes a song, a long song, and the GH is silent. Remember up here we learned that GH after vowels, a lot of the times they are silent, or G after vowels where there is a long sound, a lot of the times the GH is silent. So we only hear an I. We hear the long I sound. Hi. So always remember when you're spelling the word high, as in you're talking about something being at a great degree, and then you really need to make sure that you remember the GH is added to it, or otherwise you would spell it incorrectly. And we have seen this often with a lot of early learners of English and even those who are native English speakers. Sometimes, uh, I don't know, sometimes working to write something, you do not always spell correctly. So you have to always keep correcting yourself. Our next word, the S makes the sound S, and then we hear the CH make a sound like K. Remember, I told you CH can make different sounds. When we did it in each, it said ch, and now we're doing it down here. It says k, like in the word Christmas. So we hear s, k, and then we hear two O's together, oo, and then the L, l. Put it all together, we have school. Then we add S, schools. When we add S, we have more than one. So, schools. Guys, so we have learned a lot of words. We're going to just refresh with these words as we read the different parts or different lines for each, just to remember the words. So, this word, country, and we have it 2 times on the line. You should be able to spot it both times. Foreign, them. All right, now let's read that part of our sentence. Country, a country that was foreign to them. All right, good. If you were able to do that, that's super. Let's keep going. Where they opportunity live. Remember, this word can also say live. You always have to check the context in which you're reading to remember whether to use live or life. All right, let's read that line now. Where they had the opportunity to live and okay, good going. Let's keep going. Study, study, cultural, file, Via. Remember, in some contexts, it can be said as via. Exchange. Exchange. Program. Program. All right, let's read that line now. Study via a cultural exchange program. And via, we did not do the word in terms of its vocabulary. So let's do it because we just called it a while ago. So when you say that something is via or via, uh, it is actually saying that it is through that thing or by the way of that thing or by means of something, right? All right. Our next word, between, between, high, high, schools, schools, schools. All right, guys. So if you were able to call all those words at this point without my help, that is so good. You're doing very well. Now we're going to be reading from the top and we're going to see what mistakes you might make. All right. Remember, we want to see what mistakes you might be making. Are you ready to go? I hope that you're ready. So at this point, we're going to be reading with the um, markers still on the screen, which means that we are going to still use those as guide to call our word in case we have forgotten them. And then after that, we're going to take them off and then we'll see how well we can read without them, right? Because we want to always train ourselves to develop to a level where we don't need those reminders. Let's go ahead now and let's read in English. As we practice to read in English, we're going to be reading fluently throughout our text. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's country, a country that was foreign to them, where they had the opportunity to live and study via a cultural exchange program between a high school. All right. It's supposed to be schools. Sorry, guys. So I dropped the word short. Let's try it one more time, leaving the clues there for you to remember how to call the words. Remember, we already went through the words, trying to call them in segments and blending them together. Now it's time to read them as whole words because by now we should be able to recognize them. Let's go ahead and read. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's country, a country that was foreign to them, where they had the opportunity to live and study via a cultural exchange program between our high schools. And there is a grammatical error in this writing, right? It is not structured properly. We are going to see how well you are able to correct that grammar structure. All right, and now we're going to remove all the marks. We're going to discard them so that we can see how well you are able to read it now on your own. All right, and guys, this should be very easy for you, but I'm not gonna just take it so simple, like if it's so simple and easy. So what I'm gonna do is to give you some seconds to just look over it carefully, and you are going to see areas where you may make mistakes. And so you're going to work on your mistakes. All right. So if you need to retouch in remembering a word, it's now time for you to do that as we read English. We practice how to read in English and to pronounce English correctly. If you're ready, say ready and let's go ahead and read in English here on Read English 101 because that's essentially what we want to do. We want to achieve reading fluently in English. If that's your purpose, let's go. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's country, a country that was foreign to them, where they had the opportunity to live and study via a cultural exchange program between high schools. Guys, how was that for you? Were you able to read that fluently? I'm sure you were. Well, if you were, guys, let's keep going and let's read it one more time. This time, we're just going to remind ourselves of the words that are a bit more difficult to call. So, for example, schools, high, between, exchange, program, cultural, via, or via, study, opportunity, live, they, where, them, foreign, country, traded, east, abroad, each, others, west, world, two, students, opposite, sites. Ah, guys, you got that? Let's go ahead now and let's see if we can read it fluently because we just practice the words that might be a bit difficult for us. And we are going to try to read fluently now. Let's try to read fluently now that we've practiced those words that might be so difficult for us to read in English. Are you ready to go? Let's go. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's country, a country that was foreign to them, where they had the opportunity to live and study via a cultural exchange program between high schools. Remember, I told you that there was an error in this writing. So let's correct the error. All right. So the error is between high schools and not between a high school. All right. Because high school, we're talking about two persons and we're talking about two persons uh, trading their country for another country. So because of that, it would be between more than one school. So therefore, it would be between high schools rather than, or we can say between two high schools rather than between a high school. All right. So if that has helped you a lot, uh, I hope that you were able to understand it. If you're here, go ahead and say hello and say where you're from so we can know where you're from. Okay, so we're just going to practice to read it one more time. If you're now joining and you were not here earlier, it is good for you to go back, see how we decoded the words, how we broke them down and we put them back together in order to get the correct pronunciation for the word, and also to learn different uh, phonics rules, spelling rules, or vocabulary rules in English. We also learned the vocabulary for each word in terms of their meanings. So if you want to hear and you're interested in that, that would be something good for you to go back from the beginning to help to support your improvement in terms of you learning English. Thank you for being here. If you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, Read English 101, so that you can keep up with our daily reading sessions that would help you a lot in improving your English. So at this point, we are working with fluency and we are seeing how well we can remember those words that we have studied a while ago. And we are going to be reading right through to develop our fluency. If you would like to read with us, there's a link in the comment section. Let us know that you want to come on screen, and then once you've let us know, then you would click the link and you would come on screen. All right. If you just click the link like that, you would not be able to come on screen because I would have to add you to the screen. Hence the reason you have to click. You have to let us know that you want to come on screen to read with us. You do not have to show your camera. You can just read aloud using your voice. And that will be healthy practice for you to improve your English. So there's a link in the comment section. If you want to do that, let us know. And thank you so much for being here. Tell us where you're from so that will help us with our instructions to ensure that you are understanding our instructions. We would try our best to break it down to your level and to help you to make meaning and to be able to read fluently. Let's go ahead now and practice this segment. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's country, a country that was foreign to them, where they had the opportunity to live and study via a cultural exchange program between high schools. How was that for you? Well, I hope that that has helped you to be a little bit more fluent. We're just going to read it one more time. Then we're going to pause there for any questions. If you may have any questions, you can go ahead and start writing your questions in the comment section. We love to hear from you. So let's read it one more time. Two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, traded life abroad in each other's country, a country that was foreign to them, where they had the opportunity to live and study via a cultural exchange program between high schools. How was that for you guys? Please let us know in the comment section. Were you able to improve your pronunciation on any of the words? Were you able to really learn the foundation of the words like we did earlier in breaking the words apart and putting them back together? Did this help you in your vocabulary? Did you improve your vocabulary in some way? We did a lot of words in terms of their meanings. Did that help you to improve? We also did the pragmatics of the way that these words are being used by native English speakers. So this would help you to really learn to speak as a native English speaker. So come on, guys, let us know in the comment section where you're viewing from, how you're doing today, and hope that you'll join us in our next session, which will be a few hours from now, right? Which would be actually about, let's say, 8 to 9 hours from now. So we appreciate you being here. We're grateful for you being here. And we're just going to repeat the words, whole words, one more time, and then we're going to stop there for today. Remember, if you want to see the broken parts of the word, like for example, where we said st, the U make a long U sound, U, then D, and then ENT being a common ending or a popular ending for words in English. So you have N, the rhyme, and then T, put it together, you have ent. A lot of English words end with this common ending. So we have st, u, dent, student, and then we add the S to get more than one. Student is one. When we add the S, we have students. If you want to see that, then you need to go right back from the start because that's what we've been doing with the words. We have been sounding them out and we have been giving meanings for them. And we said that a student or students are people who are actually trying to learn something new to gain new knowledge. And so they are studying to gain new knowledge. And you would call them students, whether they are in university, which is a higher education system, or in the lower education system at early childhood, primary school, or elementary school. You would still call them students because they're studying in order to gain new knowledge or to acquire new knowledge. So, guys, go ahead and go back to all the videos if you want to learn how to do that, how to segment the words to call them properly. And in learning those rules, it will help you to really improve in calling a vast amount of English words rather than you having to know the word in order to call the word. Our next word was opposite, sides, world. Remember, world, if you're using British English, if you're using American English, it's world. Because a lot of English words, Americans do not pronounce their D or T at the ending of the words. So they would not say world like the British. They would say world. Our next word, one, and sometimes one can be a challenge. If you are a new learner of English, it can be a challenge because it's not pronounced as it is spelled. West, other, and remember, whenever this word, THE, comes before a word that begins with a vowel, you say the. The TH makes a song like between your teeth. So you hear th, and then you hear the E say E. So it would be the other. However, when it's used here before a word that begins with a consonant, we say the TH makes the D sound and the E makes a schwa sound where we hear So we say the. So the West, but then we'll say the other. All right. So that's something else for you to learn there. Because in this case, we also say the East because East begins with a vowel sound. Then our next word, traded, abroad, abroad, each, others. Now we add the S, we have others. Country, country, foreign, them, where, they, opportunity, 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 live, live, study, study, fire. In some cases, this word is also pronounced as via. So via. Our next word, cultural, exchange, program, between, high, Hi. And the final word, schools. Schools. So, guys, there you have it. All the words, those that you have missed in terms of vocabulary and how to break them down, please go back to the beginning of the live to learn those. And we appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, go ahead now and ask your questions, guys. We are ready and willing to answer any questions that you may have. Please go ahead and please if you have any. And there are two persons here watching with us. So, guys, go ahead and ask your questions if you have any questions. Or, guys, we can basically free talk. We can free talk on anything that you want to free talk on that was said in the live in terms of our reading section. We can now free talk on it. So if there's anything that you guys want to free talk on, let me know. So this actually spoke about cultural exchange. It spoke about two students, one being from the east and one being from the west. It spoke about opportunity. They have an opportunity to study in a foreign country. So we could talk about foreign countries. That could be a topic. We can talk about opportunities. We can also talk about cultural exchange programs. So let me know which one you want to talk about and if you really want to talk about any one of them. I am only going with your suggestion. So if you do not have a suggestion, then I'm not going to um, worry about doing that. Instead, I would just end the live there. However, if you have a suggestion in terms of those three things that I just spoke about, then uh, we can talk about it. Okay, so let's hear from you. We want to hear from you. We would love to hear from you. Remember, you being here makes this worthwhile. All right, because at the end of the day, you're the one that we cater for in terms of for you to learn how to read fluently in English. That is our goal, that is our purpose. So we would only go with your suggestions. All right, guys, going rolling once, rolling twice. And this is a very popular thing that is used in a lot of English places in order to basically put out like a bid or to uh, get persons to come forth in terms of saying things or to come forth with an action. So they'll say going once, going twice, and then the final time would be thrice, which would be three times. So once they get to that point, they would basically end the bid or end the opportunity for you to put forward whatever it is that you want to put forward. So, guys, here I'm putting forward that we can free talk on anything that we have read about. Uh, when we were reading, we read about two students from opposite sides of the world, one in the West and the other in the East, who traded life abroad in terms of they went into each other's country on a studying program that allowed them to have a cultural exchange, and this presented them with the opportunity uh, to live in that country and study in that country. And, you know, basically, that's like you being in a foreign country. And these students, they were from high school. So that's just to give you context of what our reading was about. So now we are hoping that we can free talk on this. So if there's anything that you guys want to say or anything that sounds familiar to you and you want to talk more on it, let me know. If not, going once, guys, going twice, going thrice. Okay, so we have not had any response. And because we have not had any response, then it means that we should come to an end. So, what we're going to do, we're going to come to the end of the program for today. And hopefully, within the next 8 to 10 hours, with all health and strength from the Lord, we would be back to do another set of reading activities. And remember, here we learn how to read by segmenting our words, by trying to recall whole words. That's where we try to recognize the words after we've learned them. And we try our best to improve our fluency. We also learn vocabulary and spelling rules and grammar rules. So basically, in a nutshell, we learn English in full depth. All right, guys. So thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure having you on here. And I hope that I can get to see you guys again soon. You take care and God bless. Keep walking and blossoming in faith and in love, guys. Show some love daily as you go about your way and uh, continued grace and favor. Until then, hope to see you guys again to read English very soon. Please be sure to share this channel with someone and be sure if you haven't subscribed as yet to subscribe. For you to subscribe, guys. So, hope you can subscribe soon, and we hope to see you and hear from you again soon. Remember, there's always an option for you to come on screen and read. All you just need to do is to click that link in the comment section to come on screen and read. You don't need to show your camera or anything like that. It's just a way of allowing you to practice out loud and to gain corrections at the same time. So, thank you very much for being here. Hope to see you soon. Take care, guys. And if you want, you can keep in touch through our Instagram page, Read English 101, our TikTok page, Read English 101, or you can email us at readonwards@gmail.com. And all the information is in our description link and in our other links. So thank you and hope to see you guys again soon as we continue to practice English, reading in English so that we can improve. Hope to see you soon. So just keep practicing. Do your best to learn to read English.